Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rahi Speaks. I am so glad you're here with us today because, honestly, today's episode might just be the one that finally makes something click for you.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. And if you're joining us for the first time, you picked a good one. This topic confuses so many people, even intermediate learners, so you're in exactly the right place.
I remember the first time I tried to use would have in a sentence. I thought I had it figured out. I said it confidently, and then the person I was talking to just looked at me with this confused expression. And I thought, okay, clearly I don't have it figured out.
That is such a relatable moment. And honestly, would have, could have, and would have been, these are the phrases that separate beginners from intermediate speakers. Once you get these right, your English jumps up a whole level.
By the end of today's episode, you're going to understand exactly when and how to use all three of these structures. You'll be able to talk about the past in a way that sounds natural, thoughtful, and genuinely fluent.
Here's a question for you before we start. Have you ever tried to use would have in a sentence and felt unsure whether you said it correctly? Tell us in the comments. We want to know.
And hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like button right now and subscribe to Rahi Speaks. We upload every single day, so there's always something new and useful waiting for you.
All right, let's not waste another second. This is going to be a great one. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's start from the very beginning. Section 1, would have. This is the foundation of everything we're learning today, so let's get it really solid. Would have is used to talk about something that did not happen in the past, but was possible. It's a hypothetical past, a past that exists only in imagination. The structure is simple. Would plus have plus past participle. That's it. Would have plus past participle.
Let me give you some clear examples so this really sticks. I would have called you, but my phone died. She would have come to the party, but she had to work. They would have won the match, but it started raining. Notice the pattern in every single one of those sentences. Something didn't happen, and we're explaining why, or imagining a different outcome.
Here's a personal example. Imagine Anna is living in New York. She was going to apply for a job at a company in San Francisco, but at the last minute, she got nervous and didn't send in her application. A year later, she says, I would have applied, but I talked myself out of it. Right there, would have applied tells us the action didn't happen. It was only a possibility that didn't become real.
Can you feel how that works? The past was different from what would have describes. That gap between what happened and what could have happened, that's where would have lives. Now, here's something really important. In everyday spoken English, would have is almost always contracted to would have. So I would have gone becomes I would have gone. It sounds much more natural in conversation.
This is where a lot of learners get confused because would've sounds a little bit like would've when people speak quickly. But would've is not correct. Never write would've. It's always would have or the contraction would've.
So here's the negative form. Wouldn't have. Same structure, just add not after would. I wouldn't have said that if I'd known. He wouldn't have left if she had asked him to stay home.
Can you try one right now? Think of something that almost happened in your life, but didn't. Maybe a trip you almost took, a class you almost signed up for. Now say, I would have, and complete the sentence. Write it in the comments. Seriously, this is the best way to make it stick.
Quick recap of section 1. Would have plus past participle talks about past possibilities that didn't happen. In speech, use would've. In negative form, use wouldn't have. That's your foundation. Hold on to it, because now we're going to build on it.
All right, building perfectly on what we just learned, let's move into section 2, could have. And trust me, once you understand the difference between would have and could have, your English is going to feel so much more precise. Here's the key difference. Would have is about what you wanted to do or intended to do. Could have is about what was possible, what you were able to do, but didn't. Structure: could plus have plus past participle.
Let me show you the difference with a side-by-side example. I would have helped you means I wanted to help, but something stopped me. I could have helped you means I had the ability to help, but I chose not to, or I didn't realize I should. You see the difference? Would have is about intention. Could have is about ability or possibility.
Real-life situation. James is a student at a university in London. There was a scholarship he could have applied for. He had all the qualifications, he was eligible, but he didn't even know about it until it was too late. His friend says to him, "You could have applied for that scholarship. You would have been perfect for it." Two structures in one sentence. Could have applied, the ability was there. Would have been? We'll get to that one in a moment.
Formal versus informal usage here. In formal writing, you write could have in full. The situation could have been avoided. In informal conversation, it becomes could have. You could have just told me, you know? Both are correct. It's just about the setting.
First tip for this section, use could have when you're talking about missed opportunity. That feeling of, I had the chance, but I didn't take it. It's a little wistful, a little reflective. Second tip, could have is also used to criticize someone gently. You could have told me earlier, or she could have at least sent a message. You're pointing out that the ability was there, but the action didn't happen. Third tip, don't mix up could have with should have. Should have is about obligation, what was the right thing to do. Could have is about possibility. You should have called means it was the right thing to do. You could have called means you had the ability to call.
Now, I want you to write this one in the comments. Think of a moment in your life, a missed opportunity, a choice you didn't make. Write, I could have, and finish the sentence. It doesn't have to be serious. It can be funny. I could have had the last slice of pizza, but my fry got there first. Anything.
Negative form, couldn't have. I couldn't have done it without you. She couldn't have known what was going to happen. Notice how this one actually sounds quite positive sometimes. Couldn't have often expresses gratitude or impossibility. Okay, let's lock in the key points from section 2. Could have is about past ability or possibility. It's different from would have, which is about past intention. Use could have in conversation. Use couldn't have for the negative. And remember, could have for ability, should have for obligation. Those are two different things entirely.
Now we're at section 3, and this one is actually my favorite. Would have been. This is where English gets really expressive, really emotional, really powerful. Would have been is used when you're imagining a past situation and describing what the state or result would have been. It's not just about actions, it's about conditions, feelings, and states of being. Structure: would plus have plus been plus adjective or noun.
Let me give you some really vivid examples so you can feel how this works. That would have been amazing. It would have been the perfect holiday. She would have been so happy to hear that news. In each of those sentences, we're imagining a state that didn't happen. We're describing what something would have been like if things had gone differently. Here's a real-life scenario. Matilda and David were planning a trip to Paris, but the trip got canceled at the last minute because of a work emergency. Later, looking at photos of Paris online, Matilda says, "It would have been so beautiful. We would have been sitting by the Seine River right now." That's would have been, carrying all the emotion of a missed experience. You can feel the wistfulness in it, can't you?
Tips for politeness and naturalness. Would have been is often used in very warm, supportive ways. When you're comforting someone, that would have been really hard for you. When you're expressing admiration, that would have been a tough decision. It softens everything. It's empathetic English.
Tone matters enormously with the structure. Say it gently and it sounds kind. That would have been difficult. Say it with a little sigh and it sounds nostalgic. It would have been perfect. The grammar is the same. The feeling changes with your tone.
Now let's do a little interactive practice right here. I'm going to describe a situation and you say the would have been sentence out loud. Situation: your friend missed a concert by their favorite artist because they were sick. How do you express sympathy?
You'd say, "That would have been such an amazing show," or "You would have had the best time." Go ahead and say that out loud right now. Seriously, say it to your phone, say it to your wall, say it to your cat. It doesn't matter. Saying it out loud is how your mouth learns to make the sounds naturally.
One more situation. A colleague in your office in San Francisco turned down a job offer at another company. 6 months later, that company became incredibly successful. What do you say? That would have been a great opportunity. Or you would have been really successful there. Say it. Feel it. Own it.
The negative? Wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been easy. That wouldn't have been a good idea. Same structure, just with wouldn't.
Let's lock in section 3. Would have been describes imagined past states and conditions. It's emotional, empathetic, and expressive. Structure is would have been plus adjective or noun. Use it to show sympathy, nostalgia, or to describe what could have existed but didn't. It's one of the most human phrases in the English language.
Okay, real talk time. Mistakes. And I'll be fully honest, I've made every single one of these. Every single one.
Same. No judgment here, only learning.
Common mistake number 1, saying would've, could've, or should've. This is probably the most widespread mistake in written English, even among native speakers sometimes. When people hear would've, could've, should've, they write it as would've, could've, should've, because that's what it sounds like. But of is a preposition. It makes no grammatical sense after would, could, or should. The correct form is always have. Would have, could have, should have.
Incorrect. I could have done better. Correct? I could have done better. Or I could have done better. Write that correction in the comments right now. I could have done better. Let your fingers remember it.
Mistake number 2, using would have when you should use would. Here's what this looks like. Someone says, "If I have time tomorrow, I would have helped you." That's wrong. Would have is for the past hypothetical. If you're talking about a future condition, you just use would. If I have time tomorrow, I would help you. Or more naturally, I'll help you if I have time tomorrow.
The mix-up happens because learners feel like would have sounds more formal or more polite, but it changes the meaning completely. Would is for present or future conditions. Would have is strictly for past hypothetical situations.
Mistake number 3, forgetting the past participle. The structure is would have plus past participle, not would have plus base verb. So I would have go is wrong. I would have went is wrong. The correct form is I would have gone. Gone is the past participle of go.
More examples. She would have took the job. Wrong. She would have taken the job. Correct. He could have ran faster. Wrong. He could have run faster. Correct. The past participle matters every single time.
And look, if you're not sure of a past participle, that's completely okay. That's what practice is for. The more you read and listen to English, the more these forms become automatic. You're building a database in your brain every time you hear correct English.
Mistake number 4. overcomplicating the sentence. Sometimes learners try to use would have in very long, tangled sentences, and it gets confusing for everyone, including themselves. Keep it clean. I would have called is powerful. You don't need 10 extra words around it.
Mistakes are not failures. Mistakes are data. Every time you make one and correct it, you're literally rewiring your brain to speak better English. That's not a metaphor. That's neuroscience.
You're doing so well just by being here and paying attention. Keep going. The mistakes section is always my favorite because it means we're getting into real, honest learning. And now, let's put everything together with some practice.
Practice time. This is the choose the better sentence activity, and I want you to really think about each one before we give the answer. Ready? Situation 1. You're talking about a holiday that got canceled. Which is better? Option A, it would be amazing. Option B, it would have been amazing.
Option B is correct. It would have been amazing. Past hypothetical, describing a state that didn't happen. It would be amazing is present or future. It implies the holiday might still happen. The have been is what anchors us in the imagined past.
Situation 2. Your friend had the ability to finish the project early, but chose not to. Which do you say? Option A, you would have finished it early. Option B, you could have finished it early.
Option B, you could have finished it early. Because we're talking about ability and possibility, not intention. Could have is your phrase for missed possibilities.
Say option B out loud right now. You could have finished it early. Say it with a little bit of friendly disbelief. That's the tone. That's the energy.
Situation 3. Which sentence is grammatically correct? Option A, she would have been perfect for the role. Option B, she would have been perfect for the role.
Option B always. Would have does not exist in correct English. Would have been, that's the real structure.
Now, here's your challenge. I want you to create one original sentence using any of the 3 structures we learned today. Would have, could have, or would have been. Write it in the comments. Make it personal. Make it real. Make it yours.
And remember, a slightly imperfect sentence that you actually say out loud is worth 10 perfect sentences that you only think about. Conversation isn't a grammar test. It's a connection.
Real conversation beats perfect grammar every single time. Use these phrases. Try them today. The confidence comes from using them, not just knowing them.
Wow. Okay, we just covered so much ground today, and honestly, I'm so proud of everyone who stayed with us through the whole episode. You just tackled one of the trickiest areas of English grammar, and you did it. Let's do a quick recap of everything we covered. First, would have, for past intentions and actions that didn't happen. Structure, would have plus past participle. Second, could have, for past ability and missed opportunities. Structure, could have plus past participle. Third, would have been, for imagined past states and conditions. Structure, would have been plus adjective or noun. 3 structures, 1 episode, and you now understand all of them. That is genuinely impressive, and you should feel good about that.
Here's a reflective question I want you to sit with. Think about one decision from your past, big or small. How would you describe it using one of today's structures? I would have, or I could have, or it would have been. Think about it. Maybe write it down.
And if this episode helped you even a little bit, please give it a like. Share it with someone who's learning English. Drop your practice sentence in the comments and subscribe to Rahi Speaks. We're here every single day making content designed specifically for you.
Learning grammar like this takes courage. It takes patience, and it takes showing up, which you did today. That means everything. Every lesson you complete, every sentence you practice, every comment you write. It all adds up to the fluent, confident English speaker you're becoming.
We are so grateful you spent this time with us here at Rahi Speaks. You've got this. Keep practicing, keep showing up, and never stop learning.
Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time.